All right, welcome everybody. What a great time, exciting time for our football program. It's been a interesting last couple of weeks, but been a lot of fun, and certainly a big part of it here today with the first National Signing Day. I would say first, just a lot of momentum with what our team's been able to accomplish, this year, the previous few years, that you can certainly feel on the recruiting trail. And I give a lot of credit to the results so far today, to our staff, the way our staff has worked, our coaches, our recruiting staff. It's been a challenging last few weeks, fun, but extremely challenging, preparing to go win a fifth straight Big 12 championship, being able to get that done, and then, not getting 5 minutes to enjoy that and celebrate it, and back on the recruiting trail. And we've talked about at length the challenges that this year's calendar created, and but we've all had to deal with it and handle it. And I think our group's done a tremendous job. And so we're thrilled with where we're at here on National Signing Day. We really think not many surprises for us today. The guys that we expected to sign, have signed. We have there will be more additions to this class as this thing goes on, but I think certainly a tremendous start. Several guys that we've been in the mix with here for a long time, that we're really excited about. I think the offensive line in particular stands out there. That was a key area this year, and I'm really thrilled about that class. And then I would say for all of our defensive recruits, because we're thrilled about this class, is a lot of these guys, believed in the vision we had defensively before it was necessarily put out there on the field. And I think that says a lot about these players. And we're going to continue to get great players there with the momentum that we have defensively, the trajectory we have defensively. But a lot of these guys believed in it from day one, and are going to come in here and be really good football players for us. So just an outstanding class, a fun morning. I know everybody was able to see some of the things we did, via social media. We did some things here on signing day and have done, and we'll continue to do things that nobody has ever done before, ever. And it's groundbreaking. And I think our players are excited about it. I know our future recruits are excited about what we're doing at Oklahoma, and we're going to continue to be on the cutting edge. That's not going to slow down. And so really proud of our team, everybody that helped put all that together, because it was a tremendous amount of work, a lot of sacrifice for people to get that done. But I know it shows these players that we're willing to go, as far as we possibly have to make sure they have the best experience they can here, and to make sure that they have everything they need to be successful, to equip them. And then hopefully it shows our fan base how passionate we are about bringing the right people in here, about creating energy and excitement about our program. And why wouldn't you be excited right now? And so an awesome day. It's fun to celebrate it, enjoy it with the staff, and to talk to all these players, their families, because this recruiting has really become a multi-year deal now. And this is a huge step. So excited about that. And then for the team right now, we've had some great bowl prep leading up into this one. It's certainly a different feeling with the calendar and the shortened amount of time. Obviously, the trip to Atlanta is getting here, sooner rather than later, and really been proud of the team, the way we've worked, the way we've approached it, and excited about finishing up our prep here and getting to Atlanta.
Okay, if you have a question, please raise your hand. I'll call on you. Eric Bailey.
Like in the defensive line, two big-time JUCO guys coming in. Can you talk about just how important that was to fill those voids, especially with graduation coming up?
Yeah, the graduation's going to hit us hard there. Losing Neville, Kenny Manque, Dylan, all those guys. It was going to be a big part of this class. I mean, there's no question. And we felt like that we needed to get some immediate help there. Some guys that had some experience, and glad we were able to add, guys with different, kind of at different points in their careers, different times in their eligibility, able to space them out. And we really felt like we got, quality guys. I mean, there's going and signing a junior college player just because you think you have to, and then there's finding the right guy or the right guys that you feel like can come make a difference. And we felt like we found that. I mean, we really targeted those guys. Perrion was early. and he kind of jumped on and got it started. And then we were able to add, obviously, a couple key pieces here late.
Okay, let's go to Aaron.
Lincoln, is the transfer portal changing the way you recruit quarterbacks specifically?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I mean, I think guys have always been able to transfer. We've been able to have grad transfers here for a while. I think it's worked out that way. Baker was here obviously before I got here. And then we did make a decision to bring Kyler in and to bring Jalen in, and both of those situations were look at our quarterback room. What do we think we need? And is there somebody there that we think can come make a difference for our football team? And it's, for me, for that room, for any room, it's about, do you feel like you have what you need? Do you feel like you need to add somebody, whether it's signing a player, whether it's taking a transfer, whatever it is? We know we got to be really good at that position. We know what the standards are here, and you see, look at the 4 teams in the playoff. Look at those 4 quarterbacks right now. You have to have pretty good quarterback play. And, we have, and we want to continue to do that, continue to get better. And so wherever we can find the right guy, the right guys, we're going to do it. I don't know that we ever put it in a scenario of, it's not a big picture of, well, I want to bring in a transfer, I want to do this. It was like last year, I just gave the example to somebody else. When the season was over, and then when I knew for sure Kyler was leaving early, it's okay, here's the situation, here's what we have. What do we think we need to win a championship the next year? And I felt like we needed an older, more experienced guy, both because of what we had in the room and also just looking at our whole team, because it's more than just that position. It's making the whole thing work together. So, it's about finding a recipe to win and win championships. And whatever we've got to do that, we will. And, I don't think that'll ever change.
Ryan Aber.
Lincoln, now that you've been through it, looking at it, how challenging was the compressed recruiting, the way the recruiting calendar fell this year? And was it tougher keeping the guys you already had, or going out and adding pieces to it over this last, week and a half, 2 weeks?
It was challenging. It still is. Ask me in a couple of weeks when we come up for air. I think I voiced my displeasure with how the calendar worked out. To not be able to go see these guys multiple times, when, 95% of the other schools out there were able to do that, was challenging. Now, the benefits are you're playing for something at that point and they're not. So there is benefits, but only getting to have really one true week to go see your guys before the majority of players sign, we got to be careful that doesn't happen again. That's just not – it's too important. This comes up too quick, and, we as coaches, administrators, all that, we got to do better. We got enough time. And with this signing day now trending to becoming, nobody knew what this thing was going to be a few years ago. Or half the players going to sign, or 10% going to sign, or 90% going to sign. Nobody knows. Well, we know now. It's the majority of players are going to sign in December. That's not going to change as long as we have these 2. And so now that we know that, we got a few tweaks, and I think that's one that we got to do better on.
Sort of to follow up, you said that you anticipated additions to this class. You anticipate those today? Is this period or not?
Yeah. We'll have a lot of good news coming up.
Okay, Bob Frisbillo.
Yeah, Lincoln.
That's what you were looking for, right? Yeah.
Right or wrong, perception is always the quarterbacks are the face of the class. How difficult, or were there any challenges since there wasn't a quarterback for the 2020 class?
That's a good question. I think we have a lot of leaders in this class that made up for that. I think we had some guys that really jumped on early that were primetime players, but also those kind of guys, and they made a big difference. Had we not had those leaders, I think it would have maybe been more of a factor than what it probably was.
Brandon Drum.
Yeah, Lincoln, you brought up a point when you said it was those guys jumped on without really seeing anything when it came to the defensive side of the ball. Similar to 2019, where it was just you all out there recruiting with no defensive staff. How much of that momentum and how well y'all closed out kind of rolled over into 2020 and helped for those others believe in 2020?
I think it did. I think it did. We got some great players right there at the end last year that have made a difference and will continue to make a difference. I definitely think there's some momentum, but there's still nothing like going and putting it on the field. I mean, that is still one of the most powerful things that you can do. And so, you know, with the turnaround we've had defensively, the quality of staff that we have, you know, players are going to grow up now knowing they're going to come to Oklahoma and play great defense, and that's what's expected. And so I think last year was a really positive what we did, especially at the end. I think this year's been a great step, and there's other big steps yet to come.
Tyler Palmatier.
Lincoln, you guys have some guys who are on the offensive line that are going to be draft eligible, and how important was it to secure Andrew Rain? I mean, not just Andrew Rain, but you know, the entire O-line class that you have, but specifically Andrew because he had decommitted and kind of stepped back from the process. And then what do you think about your offensive line look like, considering the guys that you have that are eligible to move on if they want?
Yeah, no, it was big. It was you know, you're always going to sign linemen each year, but this was one of those you kind of point to and say, we've had a lot of attrition over the last few years with guys leaving early, which, I mean, it's been a positive. Guys have been able to do it, and they've been, you know, for the most part, they've been pretty successful, and it's a result of quality play. And but those aren't always the easiest things to plan for, because you don't necessarily know that at the beginning of the season. If you've got a senior, you know you're losing him. You know, you got a guy that maybe he's going to go, maybe he's not. Do you have that scholarship? Are you able to recruit to it or not? I mean, it puts you sometimes in a challenging position, and so I do think this year's class is going to help address losing some of the guys we have over the last few years early. And yeah, I like the makeup of the class. I mean, I think I like the kind of kids we're bringing in. I mean, these are 5 really, really solid, I mean, good students, just kind of just straight up really good guys. And then unique abilities all over. I think there's multiple guys in this class that can play different positions, you know, both inside and tackle, which was important to us to, you know, almost the model of like a Cody Ford, you know, who was able to play inside early in his career and then kick back out and play very well at tackle for us and gave us that flexibility. And so continuing to have pieces like that could potentially play a number of different spots was a key factor as well. You mentioned Andrew. You know, we've had a good history with guys that maybe have decommitted throughout the process and then found their way back here. And Andrew, you know, add him to the list. And, you know, he's one of the better prospects we've seen in the state of Oklahoma since in our time here at any position. He was extremely important to getting here. And, you know, I think we've got a great relationship with him and his family, and I think that was a big part of it.
Jason Kersey.
Yeah, Lincoln, will there be any suspensions for the college football playoff if they pass?
I'm aware of the report that's out there. Unfortunately, this time I cannot comment on it.
I'll ask a recruiting question.
All good.
How do you handle guys who are committed and have been committed but don't sign today? Do you still consider them committed?
It's I think a question we're all learning about. I think it comes down to, you know, your relationship with these guys, the players, their families. Everybody's scenario is different, and things aren't always kind of what they seem on the outside. And so I think you've got to rely on those relationships. You got to rely on the many conversations that are had, and I think there's got to be a lot of trust in those moments. So I don't know that the answer is always the same, but you know, we anticipate, you know, some guys are going to go longer than others. You know, some guys are at different points of their recruitment, but you know, at the end of the day, sometimes guys tell you committed, and you know, well, maybe not, you know, and sometimes guys tell you, and you know without a doubt that they are, and so you've got to have that feel. I mean, that's where the personal relationship comes into play, and you have to know so much about what these guys and their families are about. And do you hold a spot for this guy? Do you not? Do you continue recruiting at a position? I mean, it's the daily conversation that goes on, and there's not that simple cookie cutter answer for every single player, and so we just try to do the best we can. And you want to know where these guys stand, and you also understand they need room to breathe and they need room to compare. And we've always encouraged our guys, go compare. I mean, if you find a place you like better than this, you shouldn't come here anyway. And we're okay with that. And we feel confident in what we have here and what so many people have built here. And so that's a little bit of our approach to it.
Barry Trammell?
Yeah, Lincoln, is Kennedy Brooks going to play in the Peach Bowl?
Kennedy will play, yes.
And Ramon Veg Stevenson, will he play also?
Kennedy Brooks will play.
Okay, we'll go to John Hoover.
Lincoln, I'm interested in the social media campaign, specifically the short films. Tell us about, kind of describe how that came about, and then when the idea of people, who they were, when the idea of people came to you, put it across your desk, what your reaction was, and how blown away were you?
Yeah, I'm not surprised with our group because I think we've really done some groundbreaking things the last couple of signing days. But I think we went above and beyond. And the idea started several months ago of and for our Oklahoma brand, we're always going to try to recruit the very best in the state, no question. But we're never going to have a team completely full of players from the state of Oklahoma, just with the size of our state. And we've always been a national brand. We've always national recruited. And so the thought was, of organizing almost a takeover of some of the major cities all across the country. And I thought our group did an awesome job. They really, they came to us, put the idea in front, and give a lot of credit to our people for the creative chance that we took there. A lot of credit to our administration for getting behind this, because something like this doesn't just happen overnight. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of people and a lot of commitment, and we did. But I mean, again, right now, recruits, everybody across the country seeing something that they have never seen anything like it before, and that's pretty special.
Do you feel like other schools now are watching that, saying, "Oh, now we got to step up our game"?
Absolutely. Oh, it'll be copied next year. I mean, there's no question, but hopefully we'll be on to something better by then.
Okay, John Rhodey?
You got copyrights to that?
We should have patented it. Yeah, no kidding.
What was the initial reaction? What do you hope the reaction to be? And is this an instantaneous kind of?
From the social campaign?
Yes.
I think it is, but the bigger impact, like a lot of these things, will come down the line. I mean, the guys today, they've already made their decisions. I mean, I think it adds excitement. It's something fun for their families and friends and all that, and I think it helps make the day more special and memorable for them, which is certainly a big part of it for us. But, you think of every freshman, every sophomore, every junior, that's going to be a recruitable type player right now. Everyone in the country is going to see that, every single one, and they're going to see Oklahoma did something that nobody else has ever done that is going to blow their mind. And and so it's I think that's the cool part about it. I think it'll kind of send shockwaves through, and I think we'll continue to feel the effects.
Okay, back to Gary.
Lincoln, just following up on what Jason asked, are you unable to comment because there's an appeals process with those guys?
I don't know that I want to even go that far. Just unable to right now. So I will when I can, but can't right now.
Brandon Drum?
Yeah, you guys have a record-setting wide receiver coming in, Marvin Mims.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about him and just what y'all liked about him and what kind of caught your eye, because he was committed to Stanford?
Right.
So.
Yeah, unique kid. We've been aware of him for a long time, just down the road in Frisco. And we really liked him, loved his junior tape. We were recruiting him. He made the decision to go out to Stanford, and so he was a little bit on the back burner for us at that point because of that decision. And then conversations kind of restarted. And the thing we were most impressed as we got back into the mix with him this year was, like, sometimes these guys, you watch them and you love their sophomore tape or you love their junior tape, and then as you go watch him as seniors, you say, man, he didn't get much better. Maybe he doesn't even look quite as good as it did the year before. I mean, some of these guys, human nature, complacency, whatever sets in after they've gotten offers or they've had success. And we always really try to continue to evaluate these guys even after we offer them or even after they're committed, because you want to, if they're not getting better like now, are they really going to get better when they get here, and why aren't they getting better? And Marvin was one of those guys that just, I mean, we loved his junior tape, but his senior tape is, and the way he played this year, I mean, broke the national record for receiving yards in the season and was just phenomenal and did it against great competition. And so that guy that's really improved, he's a great student, tremendous kid, comes from an awesome family. Just, you know, with some of the, you know, attrition we're getting ready to have at that position again was a major gift for us.
Tyler Palmatier.
Lincoln, I just want to do my due diligence on the questions that were asked about the suspension.
Okay.
Do you have a timetable for when you might be able to talk about it? And is there any kind of timetable where you guys might have more information that you can share?
I don't know that there's a exact timetable that I know that I'll be able to comment, but when I am, then you'll know.
Eric Bailey.
You know, you don't want to comment about any distraction or any suspensions, but how much do you avoid this becoming any kind of distraction to your football team preparing for this game?
Well, I mean, this whole game, all these playoffs are a huge distraction. I mean, there's a million different distractions right now getting prepared for this, and that's the team a lot of times that can handle those the best is going to be the most equipped coming into it. So that's, you know, we've had challenges all year. We've had challenges of, you know, whether you lose a player to an injury or new players, this or that. I mean, that's part of how it goes. And so we'll handle it the way we have, and we'll be ready to play.
Jason Kersey.
Yeah, something specifically about Bryson Washington.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his size and sort of what he brings. Is he what you guys are looking for?
Yes.
In the defensive backfield?
Yes. No, I think as you look at the DBs, you know, that we've signed, and we'll continue to work there. But it was about speed. I mean, this is speed D, so I mean that's not going to be compromised. But also about adding some length in the secondary. I mean, that has been a focus point for Coach Grinch and Coach Manning from the day we walked in here, was to try to continue to add some length. And you know, we felt like we've done that, and we'll continue to do that in this class. And Bryson was a big get. You know, down there in the state of Texas, and you know, had an opportunity to go just about anywhere he wanted to. He physically has everything you want. I mean, he is confirmed very track fast. I mean, he can really run. He has length. He has feel for playing the position. And then he has been, we asked the earlier question about the quarterback and having leaders in the class. Like, he's been one of those guys. I mean, he's been one of those guys that jumped on, that was, the day he committed, he was done. I mean, he was totally locked in. It's actually a pretty cool story. We had a little staff get together down the Metroplex. Took all the coaches and wives and families there, and we were at a Rangers ball game up in a suite watching the game. And Bryson actually called and committed during that game. We didn't know it was going to happen, and so we actually all had him up on FaceTime right there, and the whole staff's going crazy and all that. It was pretty fun. So kind of a neat story about when he made his decision, and yeah, I can't say enough about the kid. He's stuck with us, been a great leader in this class, and certainly want to continue to add more body types like his.
Is that one of the cooler, I mean, just in terms of the way a guy commits? I'm sure it happens a million different ways. But I mean,
It does. Yeah, just the fact that we had we didn't have any idea it was honestly coming at that time, and then just to have a moment where we were, all of us and all of our spouses were there together. Yeah, kind of crazy how it happened, honestly. It was like kind of perfect timing, so it was fun.
Myron Patton.
Bowl game question. By my count, Kelly's played 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Next one's 4. He plays it if you win.
I think we've had that discussion a little bit.
What are you going to do? Is he going to play?
There's ongoing discussions right now, I would say. I mean, there's obviously a lot of different ways to look at that. This scenario with him is a little unique right now. So we'll. I don't know that I'm ready to say right now, or know that we even have a full decision yet. But we'll continue to hammer through it.
Is that you and him, or is that his decision?
Yeah, it involves all of us. I think it involves all of us, and it's again, you can look at that so many different ways, and there's different options with it, and so we'll settle on the one that fits best for him and best for our team. But hopefully, hopefully we got a couple of games to play with, and and it becomes a factor.
In just a few more minutes, Bob Brisbillum.
Lincoln, you tried real hard to make the spring game a huge weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Is that working the way you want it to, or is it almost too early and there's so much time to try to keep that momentum?
No, I think it's been great. I mean, we've been really pleased with it, and I think I think both we, our fans, anybody that's involved with it, you can't, because it happens further away from signing day, you can't underestimate the impact of it. We can feel it. It's been really, really big, and it's been really, really successful. And so I think our investment there, I think our fans' investment in, showing in record numbers, the way they responded to, changing the game 48 hours before the game this last spring, and how that played out. I mean, it's made a difference, and it's going to continue to make a difference. So no, we've been very, very pleased with that. Especially with this early signing day. I mean, especially because you can only do so many during the season. I mean, you don't know when game times are going to be. We're flying guys in here. They got games going on. You can't do that many during the season. And then all of a sudden, boom. I mean, we played, a week and a half ago, and here we are. I mean, so the success of these recruiting classes is a big testament to that.
John Hoover.
Excuse me. Lincoln, since, I hate to keep pecking away at this, but since you clarified Kennedy Brooks' status for us, could you clarify Ronnie Perkins?
I'm not commenting on it anymore.
Anymore?
Sorry.
Guys?
Sorry.
Raise bridges.
Barry Trammell.
Yeah, as an aside on Caleb Kelly, 12-game season, you don't go to a bowl, guy plays 4 games. It's a redshirt year, that's 1/3 of his season. If you play 15 games and you played Caleb in 5, that's 1/3 of his season. Could you just play him and then appeal? You try to get a waiver?
You could. It's been discussed, but I think getting an answer on that and the risk that could potentially pose if you do try to save his season, I think is too risky at this point. So it's in the back of our mind. It's questions that we've asked, but I think we're at least going forward with the assumption right now that if he were to play 2 more ball games, that this would be the end of his career.
My real question, and on Clemson 4 years ago, Georgia 2 years ago, you were a slight favorite in one, slight underdog in the other, virtual toss-up games. And forget the point spread, just the natural perception. Last year, you were a heavy underdog. You are again. Any differences in those 2 games with these 2 games in terms of your mentality, with how you approach the game, or your players approach it? Is it a good thing, a bad thing? How do you see the perception that you're a heavy underdog?
Yeah, I think it's different every year, just because of who your team is. We're a lot different team than we've been in the past, and each team's been different. But I think for us, we're confident that when we play our best ball, that great things happen regardless of who we're playing. And so that's been our focus. That's been our goal the whole way through. I think we're a team that when you ask everybody in this room to raise their hand that's been in a college football playoff, there's a lot more hands that are up than aren't. So we're a team that's been there. We know what this is like. We know what to expect. We're certainly playing a great football team, but we think they're playing a pretty darn good football team too. And so don't get caught up too much in national perceptions. If we'd have done that, we wouldn't even be in the playoff right now. How many of you guys would have raised your hand after Kansas State if you thought we were going to be in the playoff? And if any of you say you would, you're lying. And here we are.